Hello, comic book junkies, it's the Frog Queen here, and today I'm coming back at you. It's been a while with another episode of what I'm currently reading. So why don't we just jump right in? If you hear some pitter patter, it's Sir Teddington, who just decided, of course, started recording, that he wanted to come up here. So you want to come say hello? He wants to say hello first. Oh, your ear's all flippied. I was just recording, and you wanted to say hello already? We just went for a walk. He's bad. He's very bad lately. But anyways, Sir Teddington, I'm making a video. You have to go sit down. You have to go sit down. Are you gonna sit on my knee? Okay. All right, he's gonna sit here apparently. Let's see. Normally when I'm reading, he's sitting on me, which is actually very awkward because you're holding this like this, and then he gets his head in the way. Anyways, I'm sure if you have a dog, a lap dog, you know what it's like. Anyway, we love him anyway. So might as well start with this. Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth has actually... Oh, is the green screen affecting this? I have my green screen up because I don't have much to look at behind me. So bear with me. When we see some green, it might peek through. Anyways, we might as well start with Sweet Tooth, right? Sweet Tooth The Return is so good. And I wasn't really sure how this was gonna go. I figured we'd be dealing not with Gus from the original series, but with a whole new hybrid. But here we got with some humans are still alive. They're living deep underground, and they're conducting some experiments. Spoiler. I mean, we're 3 issues in. This one just came out. I just got it Wednesday, and if you're reading it at all, then you know what's happening, of course. So I'm not really spoiling it, but if you haven't picked it up, I don't want to spoil too much for you. If you haven't read the original series, it came out about a decade ago. I'm thinking, when did I read Sweet Tooth originally? I can't remember, honestly. It's been a while. But it's so good. It's one of my favorites. There's 6 volumes available. It was from Vertigo, but I think they're being republished by DC under the DC New Black label, I believe it's called. So you could get it there. This one is just under the DC Black label as well. So yeah, I assume that's where the new printing is going to go if it's done already. I actually haven't seen any new Sweet Tooth books. I'm assuming that they're out. I haven't seen them in my local shop, but I'm assuming that they've already been published by the Black Label, as a lot of other things that used to be on Vertigo have come out. Like I got Girls by Peter Milligan just before Christmas. That's a republishing from the Vertigo days, and it's on the DC Black Label. Let's see, what else am I reading? American Ronin. I haven't read all of them yet. I got to get caught up. Speaking of Mr. Milligan, Mr. Milligan is writing a lot. So you guys know I'm a big Peter Milligan fan. Let's see. We've got issue 2, 3, and 4 here. Of course, I already read issue 1. I was kind of saving these to binge read. So this is in my pile to read this week. I haven't read them yet, but that's part of my big pile. The other things that I haven't caught up on yet is Excalibur and The Marked. So I have a pile of those. There's just been some things that honestly are more binge-worthy than other things. Like some things are, I don't want to say like forgettable, but they're more enjoyable when you can binge them all the way through instead of waiting month to month. And there's some things that I feel stick with me really, really well each month, and then I can actually read them every single month and not have to worry, which is, it's always a concern with my bad memory. So what I did finish reading completely was John Carpenter's science fiction. So this one was 8 volumes, and he's kicking me, the dog. This one was 8 volumes long. This was the 2nd story arc. So these are individual stories written by, I guess, John Carpenter and team of ghostwriters. Like, I'm not 100% sure how it all works, to be honest with you. With John, they're a series created by John Carpenter and Sandy King, and then there's these stories. These stories are based on stories that John Carpenter has written in the past. There you go. So anyways, this one was written by Mike Sizemore. I'm gonna say this one was going to be better in my head than how it turned out. It kind of, for an ending, it was kind of blasé. It left me feeling just a little bit empty, but not in that good way that horror movies can sometimes do. Trying to think of something to say about it. I think that's the problem. It was kind of forgettable. It wasn't that interesting in the end, and I had trouble reading it. I did read it month to month. I didn't binge it exactly like some of my other books that I like to do. But I found myself having to go back to the previous issue and be like, what? Who is this person again? And that's never good. I think that might have been like one of the main problems, is that in a horror film, for it to be effective, you really have to like the main characters to a certain extent. This kind of horror story anyway. And all the main characters just seemed quite faceless, quite personalityless, for a story with so much talking. Like, with so much scripting, I didn't get a clear sense of who any of the characters were, and that's always a big flop for me, as somebody who largely depends on character development to live vicariously through. Yeah, so that was a flop for me, but there is a preview to the next one called Hell, the Beginning, and that interested me. So this one's going to be a completely different tale of science fiction, and this is the sneak peek. Let me see. Yeah, I like that. And then it says, how do you tell someone you actually went to hell, visited hell? Not a classical hell, not a biblical hell, a practical hell, for real. Hell for real. Anyways, so that really, that already interested me. So I will be staying on for, what are you calling it? Vortex 3.0, I guess that's what they're calling them, to see what that one's going to be like, for sure. I don't know if Vortex 2.0 is just the name of this one. I guess that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I missed the first however many were in this series. But yeah. So I would skip this one. Sorry. I was hoping for better. I love John Carpenter, but yeah, it was not so much for me. Okay. So speaking of horror, Junji Ito's Romina, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. You guys know I'm really, really poor at pronouncing things. Romina, I had read pieces of this from like Scantilations or something years and years and years ago, because I believe this was originally published quite a while ago. Let me see if I can find the original published date. Originally in 1987. So I read like a fan translation probably like 10 years ago, when I think I only first discovered Junji Ito about a decade or so ago. It wasn't that long ago. But I became obsessed, and because you couldn't really get much of his work here, I had to find it online. It was mostly fan translations. So this was one of the ones that I read, although it wasn't completed at the time. So it was nice to actually get to sit down and read a proper translation, because some of the fan translations are not so good, and actually see how it ends. So there's a few notes I made about this one to talk about, because my memory's so terrible. I have to write things down as I'm reading them, or else you end up with a video with me pausing a lot, just like before when I didn't bother to write anything down about John Carpenter. Anyway, So, things that I really liked about Romina. Basically, just to give you a little overview of what it's about. I was gonna save this for like an entirely separate own video, but I don't know. Maybe I should talk about it all now? No, we'll save it for a separate video. How about that? Then I'll organize my thoughts a little bit clearer. But this one, I highly recommend getting. This came out, I believe, 2 weeks ago. It sells for $22.99 American. I got a pretty good deal on it. I think my local comic shop just didn't make me pay the Canadian price. I think I just had to pay the US cover price, so that was kind. But since I give them all my business, I guess they thought that was a nice thing to do, which I appreciate, of course. So I would highly recommend adding this into your pull list and getting it. Plus, I am so happy to report that Viz has gotten rid of the awful dust covers and they're printing, like, look how beautiful this is. They're printing right on to the book. Oh, it's gorgeous. No more dust covers. This is so thrilling to me. I hate dust covers. You have no idea. Like, oops. So creepy. I love it. I'm thrilled. Okay, so the last story I will talk about is The Deep Beyond, or it's just called Deep Beyond. And this one's written by Mirka Andolfo. Interestingly enough, the art isn't done by her. So let's just take a look. Here we go. This is my review copy from Image. So we won't spoil anything. I love this cover. It's so gorgeous, isn't it? I'm just like, oh, the colors, and I think the cover is Mirka. Let's just double check. Does it say here? Does not say who did the cover, but it does kind of look like her work. Like it, I don't know. But here we go. The art in this is not done by Mirka. And I'm used to reading things that are written and illustrated by her. But this is a great story, and it really lets Mirka's writing, it stands on its own, right? Because you're so used to seeing her illustrating and writing a story. And to have her just writing it, it does show what a great writer she is. As much as she's an amazing artist, she is also an amazing writer. And it's always interesting when people who create a story entirely on themselves go off and do just one part of the storytelling in a way, because a comic, the story is told through the pictures, not just through words, right? So I have to say, a part of the storytelling. Anyway, this is kind of takes place in a future that could be ours in a way, because it's like the earth has kind of become corrupted by humanity, not taking care of it. And there's some radical environmentalists, of course, out there. And you're also dealing with biological weaponry. So there's like some pandemic feels going on in this story. I will caution you there. But a lot of the world's population has been decimated, but there is still like a lot of people, living that 1% life and trying to fix what's happened to the earth, because a lot of the cities and stuff are just decimated, and people, are dead in their apartments, and it's pretty bleak. It's pretty bleak, but it's a really good story, and I'm really enjoying it. So I would definitely check this one out. As you can see, this is just a peek at how, yeah, there's army men with guns. Do you know what I mean? Just like around all the civilians. And I believe this is set in the US. I can't remember. But anyway, definitely check this one out. And guys, do you like this view here, being able to see the comic behind me sometimes? Because I can do that occasionally when I have digital copies of comics and stuff. But anyway, Man, it's been a while. I'm happy to be back. I'm gonna try really hard to do this more often. It's very difficult for me to organize my thoughts. And even though I am reading, sometimes it's difficult for me to remember what I've read and say anything halfway interesting about it. You know? And I'm going to try my best to fix that by being a little bit more organized while I'm reading, jotting things down, and we'll see if that helps. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for, still being here despite my absence. I am, however, gaming regularly on Twitch. And that's one way that you can support me if you want to support my channel, because that's pretty much my income now, for the most part, which isn't a lot, but it's better than nothing. If I can't do much anymore. So gaming on the internet has been good for me, and it's definitely made me a happier person all around. Anyway, I think that's it for today. We're gonna make another video about Junji Ito's new book. Okay, until next time, guys. Read something good. Bye.